Hi everyone, it's Chenso from Reality Art Pod, here to talk about Survivor Season 50, Episode 9, titled I Deserve All of This. Last week on Survivor, players split in twos, headed to Tribal at night by Chrissy and Coach. Before I dive in, I put links below to my playlist to catch up on my previous recaps. If you like the video, consider liking and subscribing, and using my link to try Paramount Plus for free. But let's dive into it. Players return to camp. All they can talk about is Devin's shenanigans. At Tribal, finding the fake hidden idol, Jonathan feels Devin's put a target on himself, but Devin's does not care. He feels on top of the world and finally alive now that he caused his havoc. He confesses to Emily that his idol is fake and that he planted it there himself. Emily is mad at Rick for doing all of this and making their alliance a target. Steph, Jonathan, and Joe are annoyed to have lost two people from their integrity group. Steph tells us she's gonna play nice for now, then slit everyone's throats. The next day, the Cerizard of Aussies are happy that these things happened, taking the heat off themselves. Aussie has such a bright, colorful shawl. This is a perfect shawl for crossing the streets safely. They're working with Joe, who does a Matic impression of Devin's bumbling into the fire to grab the idol from the rocks. Suri lays out for us. She's got the Wizard of Oz. She's working with Old Sela, the Integrity Group, and Aubrey and Tiffany. She's got the world in the palm of her hand. Aubrey is also bothered with Devin's and laying the groundwork of, I'm not with that guy. She tells Jonathan she's ready to jump ship on the nerds. Aubrey tells us it's time for her to start playing the game. Later, whoa mama, SOS un gran, lagarto verde. Joe tells Devins he wasn't going to vote for Devins last week, but Devins tells Joe he's lying and got his hand caught in the cookie jar. Joe feels like Devins was trying to goad him into an argument and he's happy he just walks away. Christian is trying to regain Steph and Jonathan's trust to stop them from targeting his group, but Jonathan isn't buying it. Christian offers Jonathan his shot in the dark as collateral, which has worked for Christian before this season, but Jonathan wants to take advantage of this and use that promise against Christian. Christian has a revelation that Ozzy is really playing the middle, and with his idol, he's a big threat. So the first person he tells is Suri, telling Suri he wants to target Jonathan and Ozzy, calling Ozzy he who should not be named. Suri immediately runs and tells Ozzy. Ozzy tells us Christian is a robot walking around in human skin, and Suri tells Jonathan too. Now Jonathan really wants to take Christian's shot in the dark away. Players head to their challenge where, sorry Joe and Tiff, those things are back up for grabs. Players will be holding a twisting handle connected to a bucket holding 25% of their pre-game body weight. The player holding their handle the longest will win immunity. Jeff is feeling spicy. He pulls out the rice and his knife, waving it around like a maniac. Jeff says because fans voted for them to earn rice, his little game today is if 5 people make a side bet and play him in the challenge, if Jet can beat any of them, they won't win the rice. They negotiate him down to 4, with Ozzy, Joe, Tiffany, and Jonathan competing in his side bet, but everyone will be playing for immunity except for Jeff. So they get started with Jeff. Jeff has the added challenge of trying to narrate, telling them this was all Jimmy Fallon's idea. Rizzo drops first, followed by Emily and Devins. The players heckle Jeff, which Jeff says is karma from years of smack-talking players, and he deserves all of this. Oop, Jeff said the thing. Suri drops. Jeff starts rattling off all the people he's doing it for. His mom, Zach Brown. Suri encourages Jeff to drop because he's safe tonight. Suri's power, Jeff drops, meaning he lost his side bet and players earn the rice. This was good fun, and to anyone who has an issue with Jeff making the show about himself a little, this is his show. Let him cook. Christian drops out, followed by Aubrey, Stephanie, Tiffany, and Jonathan, coming down to Ozzy and Joe, but Joe, drawing motivation, thinking of his sister, wins immunity. Jeff tells Joe to send one person on a journey instead of making a strategic pick. He lets everyone who's interested rock, paper, scissors, which Christian wins, so Joe sends Christian on the journey. This was silly of Joe. Back at Manu Levu, Suri is annoyed by Emily, telling Suri she's cooking too much rice. Suri tells us she was cooking rice before Emily was even a twinkle in her mother's eye, and Emily needs to take several seats. Devins tells Tiffany he's playing his idol tonight, so Devins' plan today is just to BS all day. They really did make a heaping helping of rice. Emily was right. Jonathan and Joe agree they need to take Christian's shot in the dark, then split everyone's votes on Christian and Devins. Christian heads to his journey, getting a note from Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy tells Christian if he can complete a puzzle in time, he'll win the Jimmy Fallon 1 in the urn, where he'll get to cast a vote in the urn right away for a player on the journey, and they'll start tribal with 1 vote against them. If he doesn't complete it, he has to read a bad mystery note to the other players back at camp. So Christian gets started as the weighted timers start to put pressure on him, but Christian is nowhere close. The weights pull Christian's half-completed puzzle into the ocean. Christian is devastated. It's giving corrupted hard drive the day of your PowerPoint presentation level of devastation. He wants to set a good example for his son to not be defined by failures and march forward. Christian heads back to camp with his sad note of shame. He tells them the truth about his journey and failure, reading the note that says he failed, and he'll make history at Tribal, becoming the first person in history who has to cast a vote against himself. So no matter what, Christian has to vote for Christian. Christian and Rick are in deep doo-doo. Now Christian can't even can play his shot in the dark if he wanted to, so he gives his shot in the dark to Jonathan, promising Jonathan he'll be voting for Christian because he has to. Jonathan feels like the bone collector. He's got Dee, Camilla, now maybe Christian's blood on his hands. Emily makes an attempt, telling Suri and Tiffany she wants Ozzy out. The second Emily walks away, Suri is like, she gotta go. Tiffany fills Ozzy in that his old friend Emily is trying to get him out. Ozzy calls Emily flippin' flip flop all over the place. But Rizzo is adamant that Christian is a bigger threat, who they should take out when he already has a vote against him. They're playing round robin between Christian, Devins, and Emily as targets. Any of them could go home. At Tribal, they talk about the games they played for Rice. Christian says all of this is fueling his rage and shares that he has to vote for himself thanks to his new personal enemy, Jimmy Fallon. Emily says she has no sympathy because Christian volunteered to go on the journey. Devins announces he's playing his idol tonight and will be safe. So they get to voting, with Christian telling Jimmy Fallon he owes Christian an apology. No advantages are played, and Jeff reads the votes. In the end, there's 2 votes in that thing for Ozzy from Emily and Devins, 3 for Devins from Jonathan, Ozzy, and Steph, and 6 votes for Christian from everyone else, including Christian. On Christian's way out, Jonathan gets up and gives Christian his shot in the dark back. This is too much. This is too much. So we lose Christian here, the last member of the David vs. Goliath 3, fitting because he is the better player of the 3. We saw a lot of Christian in the first half of the season, telling us the personal story about his son, that he was keeping secret from the cast and is still keeping a secret. I'm still looking forward to the big reveal maybe at Final Tribal, which will be a nice actual end to this season's journey for him. He was running the tribes he was on, going to Tribal repeatedly, but forming bonds that kept him out of danger at those pre-merged tribals. His duo with Devins was dangerous, but at the merge, it falls apart for them, with them being seen as the middle players, and the shenanigans with the idol left Christian guilty by association. The other players did the right thing here. You can't let Christian get near Final Tribal, and this was a rough episode for him. That journey seemed to really break his spirit, and the self-inflicted vote pissed him off. He looked genuinely angry with Jimmy Fallon, and I get it, but let's not blame Jimmy Fallon. It was more on Christian and his alliance than it was on Jimmy, but Christian is a delight. The show got their money's worth, quotable moments, episode titles, comedic scenes, my favorite of which being him pooping his pants and still having soiled pants for the rest of the season, up to and including in this episode. I wonder if we'll ever see Christian on Traders, because you know he would be figuring that ish out. So that ends the episode. It was a simple episode, but we got a lot going on. I loved the Jeff antics in the challenge, and I know some of you hate when Jeff does his skits and are hard to please. I get it. I'm the same way with Big Brother. I love Big Brother, but I also hate everything they do on there and can't stop complaining about Julie and her stylist. But I thought this was fun. Christian's journey was a tough challenge. I was expecting him to complete it, but I'm happy they didn't make it easy. The twist was cool, earning the opportunity to put a random vote in the urn for someone else. And the punishment was bad, but not that bad. If you're a player who wants to win a season, that's just a challenge to overcome. You gotta focus and solve the puzzle. I like twists like this, but I wish US Survivor would pull more shenanigans from Australian Survivor. They do cool stuff over there that we should just copy. This week, we saw the aftermath of the Devins move that backfired and pissed everyone off. Now he's still perpetrating the fraud about the idol. The next logical move, with the information they have, is to split the votes between Emily and Devins. But Devins, silly goose, told Emily his idol is fake. She's about to spill the beans about that. We all know it. Then we have the integrity group. Jonathan is doing the most, building a little resume. Jonathan is a problem that needs to be handled soon, because if Jonathan is out of the way, Cerise Rizravaz have the connections and the resumes to take this game to the end. We may see a reaction in the next episode to Jonathan's shot in the dark play, similar to the reaction to Devin's idol. If I were in the game after Emily rats Devins out, I'd be trying to split the vote between Devins and Jonathan. Who goes home? Who cares? We're finally seeing the Beast Games twist. I hope Mr. Beast is going to bribe someone out of the game with a lot of moolah, but we'll talk about that next week. That's all I have to say about this episode. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the episode and Christian's departure. If you liked the video, consider liking and subscribing. I'll be back next week with more Survivor. Until then, you know where to find me. Bye.